Greetings, this is Paul the Poke from paulthepoke.com. Today's topic, trend update, burden of Damascus, Aleppo Evil, June 2016. And essentially is what I've got here. I've got four references from the burden of Damascus, Isaiah 17. And just listen to these four, what they say, and just take a look at the situation that's taking place in Damascus, Syria, June 2016. The first, Isaiah 17 verse 1, the oracle concerning Damascus. Behold, Damascus is about to be removed from being a city and will become a fallen ruin. Isaiah 17 verse 9, in that day their strong cities will be like forsaken places in the forest, or like branches which they abandoned before the sons of Israel. The land will be a desolation. And so there are two examples used by Isaiah, to prove a point. The land of Syria and Damascus will be desolated at some point in the future. And especially, I've had some previous posts on Isaiah 17:1. I mean, it states it will be a pile of dust, a heap of ruins upon a heap of ruins. But the focus of today's will be Isaiah 17, verse 11, part B. But the harvest will be a heap in a day of sickliness and incurable pain. Which brings to the news that's come out here at the beginning of June 2016. And to read the original Hebrew, it will be an incurable sickness, and it speaks to the condition of Syria and Damascus. It's terminal, and the word used for pain in the Hebrew is a term that could mean both physical and or mental pain. But now there's been a recent report filed by a scientific journal, PLOS, and the focus of the article is the spreading of a tropical disease called cutaneous leishmaniasis. It's also known as the Aleppo Evil, and Aleppo is a city in Syria, in the northwest part of Syria. Now, this disease is currently spreading throughout the Middle East, as a result of war, poor sanitation, lack of clean water, limited hospitals, medical resources. Some people are having to travel up to 100 miles just to get to a hospital. Lack of clean food, poor hygiene. I mean, it's the results of war. And cutaneous leishmaniasis, or the Aleppo Evil, is carried by sandflies. And the flies bite and transmit a parasite into the bloodstream. And to see the disease, horrible open sores, scarring skin lesions, nodules, boils, papules. I mean, the skin is turned deep purple and black. And obviously, if you had that stuff on your skin, a lot of people have it on their face. There are social and psychological considerations that go along with it. And the problem is that, due to all the war that's taken place in Syria, there are up to 5.5 million refugees who've migrated out of Syria. And that, those estimates range from 4 to 5.5 million. And these immigrants have gone to Turkey, Europe, Lebanon, Iraq, Jordan, Egypt, Libya, and Yemen. And, the disease is spreading throughout the populations of the immigrants. Now, they don't have a hard number on it, but we're talking, upwards of 5.5 million people, and there are estimated to be hundreds of thousands of people carrying the disease and the parasite. And the real scary thing about this is this can take up to 2 to 6 months to incubate before symptoms are exhibited. So, if the disease affects the skin, it's not fatal, it's treatable. But if it does get inside the body and get into the organs, then there are some serious problems. Lots of pain, physical pain associated with this disease process. Now, prior to the Syrian civil war and the spread of ISIS, the parasite was not an issue and it was under control. So this has all come about in about the last 4 years since the civil war has spread and ISIS has taken a hold. Now, I've got links to two articles from the independent.co.uk and then also journals.plos.org. Interesting reads if you're looking into the the biology of how that spreads. And then unfortunately there's some pictures too, and I'll just give you a heads up. They're pretty gross and gruesome to look at how this stuff affects people. And the last one here, Isaiah 17 verse 12, alas, the uproar of many peoples who roar like the roaring of the seas, and then the rumbling of nations who rush on like the mighty rumbling of mighty waters. And this verse in the Hebrew, its point is to get the reader's attention. And one way it could be translated as, hey, you're as good as dead. Now others have taken this to be a funeral cry. But either way, translators have softened how this is interpreted. And you start looking at the original Hebrew of it, and it's pretty straight to the point. It's like, hey, you're done. And it's emphasized twice. And God is telling him, you can make all the noise you want. You're going down. I mean, judgment has been set. And so the nations can shout louder and longer, but it doesn't matter. And at this point, if you look at the conflict in Syria, at least 14 nations have their air forces involved over the skies of Syria in June of 2016. And if you look at Syria and read the news, they're rushing around like rushing and rumbling waters. And so the burden continues. And so the question gets to be, you read these things, written by the prophets, 2,500, 3,000 years ago, and you see some of these things start to happen here in 2016. And to the critic, you have to admit at least, hey, this is what is happening right now is consistent with the verses in Isaiah 17. And so you have to ask the question, are we watching the burden of Damascus unfold? I mean, personally, I always thought it would be a nuke blast and be done and over, but I never considered like a slow, drawn-out process, which is what we're watching. It's just slow disaster, and millions of people are being affected. If you're interested in this, further topics, please feel free to check out paulthepoke.com, keyword, trend update, burden of Damascus, and there are a few posts on that going back, I believe, to about 2011 when ISIS first moved in. Thanks for listening. Take care. Bye.